What's happening, y'all? I'm Sarah.
And I'm Sandwich.
And this is Not Brand Safe.
It sure isn't.
The show where we bring you topics and thoughts and ideas that are not always brand safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
joined in the studio for the first time ever on Not Brand Safe by one of our besties. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Sam Sternfield, founder of the Quantum Grind CDH store. Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, welcome to the couch.
Welcome to the big couch.
Absolutely. Big and red.
It's like the big, well, it's orange.
It's burnt orange.
It's burnt orange.
I mean, have you seen the size of my glasses? You think I can tell?
Fair. That's
So weird.
From a thick-lensed girly, I understand that.
So there's something that we do on this podcast called Highs and Lows, where we talk about the highs of our week and then the lows of our week, and then we discuss for a minute, and then we'll dig into Quantum Grind. How's that sound?
Great.
Sandwich, kick us off. What were your highs this week?
I bought some tools and they worked properly. There's so many highs this week, actually, because like the C-stand, huge high. I'm very proud of that. But like ghost tour, Nana Pat, the weather, it's fucking fall. Like we had, there's so much food we've had that's so good lately. She made this soup. We haven't had a podcast since she made this soup. That's probably one of my biggest highs. She made this fucking Southwest chicken soup. It was so good, and then it was even better the next day, and even better the next day.
Yeah, that was good.
Those are all my highs.
Oh, what about you, Sam?
My highs for the week, I got to spend some time with some friends over in Lake Tahoe, which is a place I've never been to.
Oh,
So
yeah?
that was pretty cool. I got to dive into amazing water, drink water out of a waterfall. Those are some of my pretty cool highs.
That's awesome.
Hell
Also, another one of your highs.
Oh, yeah, obviously, I got to come out and meet you guys.
Yo, what's up? That's so cool. You
Sarah
would say
said-
that.
It's crazy that was all of your highs this week.
There's a glaring one that's missing.
I mean, what else is there to compare? I mean, like, that seems to be like, the pinnacle of success, right?
Yeah.
Hang out with friends, hang out with you guys, which are also friends. Like, it's a win-win.
Yeah, and we got to record some gameplay, played CDH today. You got to do some crazy stuff there. Check that out on our
sorry,
YouTube
you
channel
didn't really
coming up.
get to see your deck play out too much. I apologize.
At all. At all. I didn't even get 2 lay-ins.
Yeah, a few people missed only, didn't get to that second land drop.
Yeah.
Let's
You
say
have to
that.
watch the video to see
Yeah, it'll be linked below on our
the
YouTube channel.
murder fest.
Yeah,
I
murder.
don't know. Sandwich murked us in game 1.
Sandwich did mark us in game 1.
It was a poop effort. I didn't even see it. Y'all had to help me murk y'all.
That's okay.
Does that
That's
count
okay.
as a high or a low?
A high.
Yeah.
Okay.
A win for GirlPod's a win for us all.
It's
Okay.
true. It's true. I also got to win today. My high this week was probably the same as yours. Ghost hunting Nana Pat at the studio. Like, I'm really happy that it's up and running. And I was peeking at the footage while I was dumping stuff, and it looks really nice. And I don't think the window will be an issue, which is huge. There's like some inconsistencies when the sun comes out. It kind of gets a little bit bright and then a little bit dim. But I don't know if it's worth putting, things over the window. We can look at it and see what it looks like when it's all color corrected and put together. But yeah, seeing Nana Pat was great. I got to see my mom, my dad and my stepmom. Had some hard conversations with them, which was good.
Yeah.
And it was a good time. So I also met this ghost named Charles.
Yeah.
He's great. We love Charles. He does not like to be called Charlie.
Yeah. I've not met him yet, but apparently he's hanging out. So
Yeah, he's around. You ever see ghosts?
All the time.
Do you see any here? Because I still haven't seen him.
No, they're more of fleeting thoughts of employees not doing what they're supposed to do. That's and
He said ghosts
I-
of
I-
others must
Management
pass.
ghosts.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're a little too real sometimes.
Demons.
If
What
you're out
were
there,
you-
you know who you are.
We'll send him a link.
I mean, you said not brand safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Say what,
be
say
as
what you
not
do.
safe as
You
you
gotta hang
want.
your heart, let it out. Just
That's
come
the whole
giggle
point of
about it.
this.
I feel like we've made this like weird triangle with the microphones, and that's what my brain's kind of locked into right now, where I'm like, Illuminati.
I just keep going like the Illuminati.
Yeah. What were your lows this week?
I guess we're gonna get some really highs and really low lows at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. World fame, but also destruction. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
My low. I was sleepy. I'm getting used to waking up early for our stream. Our stream is a high, but waking up that early for the stream is hard. That's my low. I have to wake up at 6 every day now.
Yeah. And
not
then
even
go
in
to work
school.
immediately. I think the hard part for me is that I don't get
Immediately
like,
after.
there's not a beat to like, okay, we woke up at 6, we've yapped from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. with this stream. We've been super like on top of it, energetic, never missed a day, never been late. And we go from 7 to 9, like people will be like, okay, well I just got to work, bye. And like that was the point, you know? And then having to immediately log off here, there's like enough time to use the restroom, make a quick breakfast, go to my desk, log in, eat while I work. And it's like I'm locked in there from like 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. with like a little hour in between where I get to maybe nap. So like
Yeah, I've been having naps for lunch
yeah,
all week.
it's been great.
And
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a good nap.
That's true. And being at home is good because car naps are hard because then you have temperature that could be bad and then you'll sleep too long. But being able to just like roll over and go on my bed is nice.
yeah.
Try the airport naps. It's
No.
not fun.
That's too scary. I'd be afraid I'd miss my flight. I'd never been able to sleep in an airport.
Yeah. What about you? What were your lows?
My low lows is I've been trying to do a lot of crazy things between all my companies and even in the Magic community where just like traveling is literally taking a toll on my body, I believe. Lots of travel in a good and bad way. Had a 75-year-old Uber lady drive me to the airport and almost missed my flight because she wanted to go 20 miles under the speed limit.
Fun.
And wanted to chit chat with me instead of maybe focusing on the road a little bit more.
No.
So that was a little wild. Shout out. I don't remember your name, but
I'm sure it
if
was
you're
like Ethel.
something.
That's our vacuum.
So that was pretty crazy. I had one flight that unfortunately had to have a layover and it was delayed, so I ended up having to sleep in the airport to make my connection. That was kind of miserable. So, but we're making it happen. We're making it happen, doing a lot of cool things.
Hell yeah. I've been stuck in that turd cycle that my therapist talks about a lot, where it's like, so like the turd cycle, right, is like, I started therapy almost a year ago. Like I started a year ago in November. And the turd cycle is like when you like feel like a turd, it's like you're feeling negatively about yourself, so you're acting like a turd, and then people treat you like a turd because you're being a turd, but then you go back to like being a turd because people like, now you're like, well, now everyone hates me because I'm a turd. And so it's like recognizing where you are in that cycle of being like, this is about me and not about anything anyone has ever done, right? And then like pulling yourself out of that cycle. That's been my low, is that I've been like trapped in it. I'm like, hey, I'm feeling super negatively and I'm projecting, so I need to go to my room. Bye. Like,
Talk about being stuck in a rut.
yeah. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But it's that time of year, you know, the days are getting shorter and sun's not out as frequently. Sun's not as out.
The sun is not as out.
Not as out.
No.
All right, highs and lows. We did it.
We did it.
We
Yep.
did it.
The
We
structure.
lived.
Yeah, we survived.
We survived.
I'm really proud of all of us, honestly.
Truly. So, reason for the season, let's talk about Quantum Grind. Tell us a little bit about the mission there.
Yeah, so the Quantum Grind series, it's very interesting. We have a very open mission statement of transparency and honesty to the players. My background comes from the poker tournament scene. I've made about $1 million in recorded tournament earnings, and I've traveled around the world and played against some of the best of the best. And really want to take some of that experience and knowledge and bring it over to the world of Magic. I've been playing for a few years, and just from traveling around and playing the few tournaments I have, I think there's a lot of things that we can do to improve on the space.
Okay. What do you think we can do to improve on the space?
Few things. You need to scale towards your player base. So there's obviously some legal loopholes you have to jump around, which would be a little too much to probably get into now, but you should reward players for, coming out and playing events. Like, you shouldn't be fixated on a certain dollar amount. Like, if you have more players come and support you, you need to go and return and support your player base.
Yeah.
So in all of our tournaments, when we say we're guaranteeing a prize pool, we don't care how many people show up. That amount of money is going out the door even if one person signs up. And we're dedicated to doing that. In addition to that, we have fixed increments where we're donating a certain number of dollars back to the player pool for every player over the minimum. We have fixed increments for our first tournament coming up soon where I'd have to check the math, but I believe it's every 4 pods above the minimum. We're donating an extra $1,250 back per.
Whoa.
And then obviously we're willing to donate increments, like if it's 4.5 pods or 4 3/4 pods, we'll adjust accordingly, but we're definitely advertising a fixed donation plan back towards the players based off those amounts.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
That's sick. So what was there like anything that happened or a specific reason that you began to feel passionately about this particular industry with Magic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, rain on anybody's parade, but there were definitely some major events that have happened recently that me and my friends and even my now business partners have played at, where there was just like a lot of misinformation and there was just things that could have been done better. Like, I mean, like in the poker world, like you can't legally take a rake because you know this is technically not gambling, and I don't want to be involved in that because, you know, I don't want to get tied up legally or anything like that. But I do just want to promote that we can give money back to the players in better ways. And like in the poker world, like they have similar expenses. Like they still have to pay for venues, they still have to pay for dealer staff and floor staff and all these other things, just like we have to do as a Magic, you know, tournament or event organizer. So there's no reason that we can't at least in a way not copy, but at least take away some of the positive traits from that model and implement them here, where we can give money back to the players in a better way, where you don't have to basically be as greedy. And like, I'm okay making less money if it means we give a better player experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thoughts?
I think that's great. I think that scaling the prize pool is awesome because there's so many where they're like, we have this for the prize, and then so many more people join. That's so many more entry fees. And you're right. It should go back to the players so that they can buy more CEDH cards so that they can play more CEDH tournaments. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, and you should be incentivizing them, especially like these people that go to tournament to tournament to tournament, even if they're not like grinders or professionals or things like that. Like, they should feel like they got their value out of it, not that they just came and got ripped off. You know, like if I have 500 or 1,000 players in a tournament, that's way different than having 100 players in a tournament.
Yeah.
And I get some of these smaller local game stores when they host an event, oh, we're giving out a cool card. Well, you can't arbitrarily increase the value of a card, but there's nothing saying you can't offer like an extra 10, 25, 50, whatever the dollar amount is, and like store credit or something above and beyond, where you're giving that value back to the players. And that's one of the things that I think is really missing. We're also doing some other cool things like innovations and stuff like that in the actual event space itself. One of the things that, you know, even though it's kind of funny and like everyone's, you know, been a fan of it, you know, everyone raising their hands, screaming for judge like a hyena and hoping that they find you, especially once you get to these big scale events with huge numbers of people. That's not feasible once you start to scale to those kinds of sizes. So we've implemented a couple of things to make that a little easier, where judges get like directly called to your table number. And, you know, we also want to have like people bring food to the tables, like snacks and things like that, because you guys are playing all day, and, you know, when a round is over, the next round just starts. It's not like you get a chance to like go eat, really. So we want to, you know, provide that kind of like nourishment and experience to the players, because that's really important to providing the best experience possible.
Yeah. So in building that goal and building the Quantum Grind series, where are you at in the steps and phases of like building it and like creating a tournament?
Yeah. So in terms of principles, I'm pretty sure we're there. We have our first event coming up October 25th, which I believe this podcast will be out like right before or right around
Wednesday.
that time.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Wow.
Wednesday.
That's a very quick turnaround time. It's Sunday
Thank
now.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
We worked really hard.
No, GirlPod's great. They're one of the first people that I've signed up to be an affiliate with us, and I'm very, very happy with them. And I'm hopeful that they're happy with me and my team, and I hope to do some really, really good things with them in the future. But that's kind of where we're at in terms of principality. Like, obviously we'll evolve, we'll make updates and changes as we go. In terms of principles and procedures, I think we're there. Next is really just marketing. Marketing. We're working with a lot of big content creators. We have our names out in a lot of different hats right now, and we're trying to just make it all work so that way we can get the news to everybody. Because once everybody gets in on this little bit of update or medicine, I'd like to call it, to remedy some of these issues that are going on, it's really going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
That's a game changer. Oh, I bought my mic. That's going to make a big... Oops.
Yeah, and the second that we went public, like, I've had a few of the major heads of the industry reach out to me, even personally, through mutual friends and connections. And to be honest, and I don't say this, you know, lightly, I think they're scared. Because I think that we are providing something that is so above and beyond and amazing to the player base that some of these tournament organizers are going to have to take a page out of our book or two. Because otherwise they're just not going to be able to compete. And I don't want to compete with anybody. I just want to focus on providing the best experience possible to the players. But I also want to be the one that sets that precedent, like, hey, we can do better. Why aren't we?
Yeah.
And that's the message that I would like to send to any TOs that are listening, or, you know, disciples or friends of friends. We can all do better. So why aren't we?
Yeah.
And that's the step that we're taking, and that's the quantum grind. And that name comes from two parts. When I studied in school, one of the big things that I was interested in was quantum mechanics. And if, for any of you guys out there that aren't familiar, quantum mechanics is a subsection of physics where it talks about breaking things down into its most detailed finite parts, down to even the subatomic level, to where even the natural laws of physics that we understand today don't really make sense, but it gets down to the exact detail of how every little thing works.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to be in the tournament space. You know, we want to figure out all these little fine details and make them work together. And that's the grind of it all. We want to make it all work together, where we can give you guys the best experience to grind out an opportunity to play Magic at the highest of levels with the highest rewards and opportunities that are possible.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So, just breaking down kind of what you've already done, were there any major hurdles that you guys had that like maybe you thought you couldn't get through?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, marketing is just like such a huge thing where, you know, there is a lot of brand recognition. I think customer education is like one of the biggest things because we're doing things that are like brand new. And, you know, people are scared. Like we have our $50,000 tournament coming up, you know, middle of next year, exact dates to be determined. I just need a vendor to sign before I give any misinformation.
Fair.
I don't want people to plan accordingly and then I don't want to be called a liar.
Yeah, that's so fair and valid.
But customer education is like one of the biggest things. Like in our 50K event, like it would be a really big bummer if you traveled all the way out to us. You have a few garbage rounds or bad politics, whatever, you get screwed over, whatever it is, and your tournament's just done. That's like a really bad feeling. Like even for me, like I traveled all the way to all sorts of parts of the country to play, and you have a couple bad rounds and it's just over. That's just like a really bad feeling. So one of the cool things that we're implementing, at least in our 50K, is an opportunity to buy in more than once.
Ooh.
Which is unheard of, which is going to make some people uncomfortable. But that's why the customer education is like one of the biggest hurdles. So like for that in particular, like you come in on Friday, you scrub out, you don't get enough points to qualify for day 2. That's fine. You could play on day 1B, which will be that Saturday of the weekend. And you pay your entry fee again, but it's like you get another chance to crack at it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, because like I understand like playing in a big tournament where like the biggest prizes and like all the stakes on the line, like we're guaranteeing $10,000 to first place. You guys are playing for a crazy amounts of money that the Magic community isn't used to playing for, especially in CEDH, which is what we are specialized in. Where if we bring that message out. It's like, hey, you'll have multiple opportunities. You can win your way into the main event for cheaper through satellite tournaments. No one even really knows what a satellite tournament is at this point.
Yeah. Can you actually explain what a satellite tournament is?
Yes, absolutely. So a satellite tournament is where you play in a tournament, and instead of winning a prize like a card or store credit or cash even or a check, whatever, you actually win your way into a bigger tournament. And that happens in the poker world all the time. In fact, like I've done countless of them myself where like you just give yourself another opportunity, and like give yourself a chance to get in for cheap, give yourself a chance to play multiple times, and we're going to have a bunch of different opportunities to do that for at least the 50K, maybe even our 10K coming up soon. Exact schedules are still being worked on. But that's kind of the biggest thing. Like, you'll have all these opportunities through satellites to even win your way in for cheaper, or you could just come and play, you can just pay the full entry fee. And if you want to try more than once, you're more than welcome to. Obviously you'd only be able to play once per day because, once rounds start, I don't want anyone to be able to manipulate their points or tiebreakers or anything like that. Everyone gets their own fair shot.
Yeah.
And if you decide to re-enter the tournament, it's almost like you're a new person. You got to start from scratch. You start in round 1, you start with 0 points, you start with 0 tiebreakers, and you just try to, take your best crack at it. The easiest way that I like to explain it to people that ask is think about it as just like 2 different tournaments. They're 2 different qualifiers to try to make it to day 2 and get your points.
Yeah. That's definitely something that Sandwich and I have discussed in terms of CDH tournaments is, it's like a lot of tournaments it's really expensive to go, right? And if it's not a local tournament, we have to account for travel costs and like what happens if we do go and we're still learning tournament CEDH versus like not like casual CEDH, but you know what I'm saying. We usually play with each other or like friends in our Discord community space. So getting out and playing more CEDH in tournament space is something that's been important to us. But how do you travel different state? How do you travel across the country for a tournament that you're paying $100, $150 to even just sit in, plus all the travel costs to go and crap out like turns 2 and 3? Like
No, it's a really bad feeling, and that's why
Yeah,
I want
it
to give them the
sucks.
opportunity. And like for our main event, we have a ton of different side events and opportunities. Like not only will there be satellites where you can win your way into the main event for cheaper, but like we're also gonna have like what are called bounty tournaments, which nobody's even done. And I'll reveal it for the first time with you guys.
Ooh.
Bounty tournaments are really awesome, where like not only basically what happens is the prizes get broken up into 2 categories. You have your regular prize pool where you have like first, second, third, fourth, however many places. Obviously, first place gets the most, and you work your way down. But then you also have what's called a bounty prize pool, and this happens in the poker world all the time, and it's taken the world by storm. And in fact, it gives you like that environment where like anything can happen, and you just got to push for wins, because we also want to try to solve the draw problem too, which is like an even bigger issue to talk about. But in terms of a bounty tournament, if you win a pod, you're going to win a random mystery prize. It might, be a 10th of your entry fee. It might be 5 or 10 times your entry fee. And what will happen is like it'll incentivize you to keep playing, because we want people to keep playing Magic, keep playing games, keep competing at the highest level. And, like if you're playing in a 4-round tournament and you're 0-3, you don't really have an incentive to play that last round. Right?
Yeah.
Your tournament's kind of done. But guess what? If you play that last round and you win the game and you just miraculously hit like the biggest bounty possible, and now you just got like 5 times your money back, that's like a really big incentive to like keep playing, keep competing, and like, hey, we just drew. Well, guess what? Now nobody gets that bounty. It'll be put back in the regular prize pool for first, second, third, fourth, whatever, but now someone missed out on an opportunity. So that's one of the ways that we're combating those. In our 50K specifically, we're also going to offer a high roller tournament. We want to kind of like start to elevate that, push the comfort level a little bit. Most of these tournaments, like you mentioned, are around like $100. Like I know there was some pushback, I think it was this year, maybe the end of last year, where there was a tournament where they actually had to reprice because people weren't comfortable at that price point. But I want to start to push that boundary a little bit. So even for our high roller tournament, if I only get 20, 30 people, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But you're also competing for a lot more money.
Yeah.
And we're doing all sorts of crazy things. Like our main event, like I'll also reveal this now. We are building our own version of the Stanley Cup where you'll get your name engraved on there forever. Obviously, you'll get a miniature version to take with you. We're also building custom like UFC style belts for champions and stuff for all of our tournaments.
Yeah.
So that's going to be quite insane. But we want to create that experience. So like we're doing all these crazy innovation things. We're also willing to take any feedback and like answer any questions, even personally. I've given out my personal cell phone number even to more people than I care to admit. But that's just our mission statement. We want to create an open and transparent network where you guys can feel comfortable coming with us and you can get the best experience possible.
Yeah.
We want you to have that opportunity. Like there should be someone winning $10,000 in that main event.
Yeah.
And I'll even say this, and you can quote me till the day I die. If I only give out $50,000 in this tournament, I will consider it a personal failure of mine, because I want to prove to the people that as you accrue more value and you can get more people in a tournament, you can reward more players. Like in my mind, like I'm looking at getting 650 to 1,000 players. And if I get over 1,000 players, you bet your butt, like I'm going to be giving out over $100,000 in that example.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I want to make that happen. One of the other things that we're doing is like really innovative and not really being done now is you have to pay out more spots when you have more players. So it's just like, if you have 500 players into a tournament, you can't cut the top 16. You just can't. First of all, there's not even enough games. Like even in 1v1, like you have to have 5 rounds to have an undefeated player when you're playing 1v1 games. So you're telling me that out of 500 players, you're not going to get an undefeated player at that point. You'll have multiple undefeated players. Like it's just not enough rounds. You still need to have a top cut so you can have a performance-based, evaluation. Yeah. But you should be cutting to more spots. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going to pay out 1 out of 8 players.
Oh.
So, and obviously we can't pay half a player, so we'll obviously round off that spot. But for example, if I get 800 players in our main event, I have no issue paying out the top 100 spots in that example, because that would be 1 out of 8. And then you break down your payouts accordingly. Obviously, first place still gets the most, but now I'm paying all the way down to 100th place. I obviously don't want our tournaments to go 3-4 days long and take people out of the workplace either.
Yeah.
We obviously are aware of like the 11-hour finales and stuff like that, which we're also trying to avoid.
Yeah.
A lot of TOs have put in good implementations of like having 3-hour time limits in top cut matches. We're going to be looking at doing similar things, if maybe slightly adjusted versions of those. But those are things that we're still working on the back end procedurally. but we can easily cut one more bracket to up to 64.
Yeah.
And then if you, for example, if I need to pay the top 42 spots, like I can cut accordingly and give so many buys based off of top records in Swiss, where now you're still incentivizing those players to play. Where like, okay, like yes, I am locked to make top cut, but you can get a buy to top 16 and still have first seed and all that, which is like a huge advantage. In addition to that, I'm not going to pay every single position the same. So for example, 16 through 5th place all get eliminated at the same time, right? Because you're cutting to top 4. However, 5th place and 16th place in my payout structure do not pay out the same.
Yeah.
So like, for example, shout out Jordy Palayo. He's a really good friend of mine from Florida. He was actually top of Swiss over at the Steel City Spectacular in Pittsburgh a couple months ago. He did kind of get screwed out of his top 16 match, but whatever. I'll leave that to whoever's watching that game to make the most educated decisions on that. But he was the top in Swiss, and he ended up getting eliminated in his top 16 round. But guess what? He got paid the same amount as 16th place.
Oh.
So that's kind of lame. Like he had such a better Swiss record, he had such a better performance overall in the tournament, and he didn't get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And it's not just for him, it's for everybody. You have to reward people for their efforts, not just for coming out to your events, but coming out and performing at your events too.
Yeah.
I believe there was an Itali player that won the whole thing. His Swiss record, for lack of better terms, wasn't fantastic. It was good enough to make it, and then he just ran over him in his top few matches, which happens in tournaments. Sometimes you just, you have an ungodly run and, things just go your way. But guess what? If he would have just made top 16 and then like bubbled out in 16th place, that's not as valuable as someone that kicked ass for 2 days in Swiss and then just got a little unlucky in top 16.
Yeah.
Those two things are not equivalent stories to me, and you have to reflect that in your payouts, because that again will force players to play in those final rounds of Swiss to really chase for those points instead of just intentionally drawing for 4 hours because these last 3 rounds, quote unquote, don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is something that you're very passionate about, and that's something I do appreciate about you is like, so far we haven't been working together very long, right?
Yeah.
But like your second email, your response back to my response to your first email was, here's my phone number, just call me. And I was like, oh great. And then the call didn't work, and then I had hey, this didn't work out today, how's tomorrow, how's this day? Like, so far something that really made me want to work with you guys was that, hey, here's the problem and here's our solution. Like, we see this problem and this is our solution. And that's something that I think is really important, because there's a lot of instances that we've seen just as spectators of, okay, well, why did this happen? Well, I don't know. What are we doing to fix it? I don't know. Like, I don't like that. I like that you guys see a problem and then you find a solution. And even if the solution is difficult or not the ideal solution, a solution is still a solution.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the biggest thing, not just in life, but in business as well, is just not only data, so you understand what you're getting into, but the accountability.
Yeah.
Like, people are busy. Sometimes, people can't take my call or vice versa, but it takes you half a second. Your phone even prompts you with the I'll call you back button. I don't care if you don't call me back for 5 hours, but give me the decency of hitting that button, because I will always return and give you that same decency.
Yeah.
It's just a respect for one another, and we respect our player base, and we know that as they, learn more about us and they become more comfortable, they'll respect us too, because we know that they'll learn that we're here to protect them and to give them the best experience possible, and that all starts with accountability. We are very good as a team, communicating. Obviously we all have our bumps in the road. You know who you are.
Is it Nate? It's Nate, isn't it? I know it. It's Nate.
No comment.
Gotcha, Nate. We know you did. We don't send in.
Yeah, but it's just like that accountability is just like so huge, because like we can do really, really amazing things, and it all starts if we work together.
Yeah.
It takes more than a person to move a mountain, and we're going to create such an amazing mountain with such an explosive velocity. Just like a volcano, we are going to erupt and take over the space. And, working with people like GirlPod, and we're looking with like a bunch of other people that are in the same boat, where we just want to like elevate the community and create an amazing experience for everyone. I think that's just going to be the key to our success. And it all starts with accountability.
Yeah. If someone wanted to get into the space of getting into CEDH tournaments, do you think that your tournament is like beginner friendly?
I think it's very beginner friendly. Like obviously, we expect competition at the highest levels, but everyone is more than welcome. Throw your ring in the fire. Tournaments are high variance to begin with. Even if we pretend that everybody's equal. And, everyone is quote unquote seed one and we're all playing the same deck. If we pretend that everything is 100% even playing field, you only win 25% of the games in a 4-player game.
Yeah.
So, if this person's a little better or politics a little bit better, or maybe this person's more experienced with their deck, whatever, maybe they get up to 30, 35, 40% even on average, but that's still an overwhelming majority of the time you're going to lose games. So just get in there, throw your hat in the fire. You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to get lucky. Maybe one of your opponents that are quote unquote better than you, they misplay too. We're all human.
Yeah.
So like that, I think that's an important. We're also completely proxy friendly. Obviously we have rules like, you can't be able to manipulate your deck and all that kind of stuff, but you can feel free to read our rules about that. But we're creating that open and welcoming environment. We want you to feel comfortable. Like we want you to, feel like you're welcomed and that you have an opportunity to belong with us, because you really do. And you'll have an opportunity like no other.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, just because our specific audience is very beginner oriented people. Like we have people who just started playing Magic who listen to our podcast and who are in our Discord and who try to jam games that we like help teach them. And some of those people they started hanging out in GirlPod and then wanted to learn how to play CDH because we had a great time doing it. It was like, you guys make it look so fun. It doesn't look so scary. And so I do think there's a big viewership that we have specifically that like will want to come to your tournament because you sound really cool and like you're really passionate about this. And like,
yeah,
I think some of the larger tournaments, there's this like overwhelming feeling of I'm a dollar sign and not a person. Like I'm here to make them money, not to play Magic.
Yeah, and that's part of what the scaling prize pool is supposed to be. It's just like, obviously we are a business and we do have to eventually turn a profit, but I don't need to take 60% of your money just to pay my venue or pay my staff. Like the margins are way larger than that, whether people and other TOs want to admit it or not. And there's a lot of things that you can do even on the financial side to support the players. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And if I'm being frank, I've only been playing Magic for a couple of years. I started right before Lost Caverns of Ixalan came out. Now, granted, like I have a lot of experience in poker, and I played Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid, and I have a lot of experience in like those competitive types of environments. But I've only been playing Magic for a little while, and it's all about the passion. If you're passionate about it, just go for it, get it, proxy up a deck, talk with friends, jam out some hands, do some theory crafting, watch some videos with GirlPod and some of the other amazing content creators, because they'll show you what it's all about. And here at the Quantum Grinds, like, yes, it is a competition, and yes, there is money on the line, but there's an opportunity for everyone. I've seen some crazy decks win games. I've definitely seen the best player in a pod lose a game, even if it's myself. Sandwich definitely kicked our butt earlier.
It was great.
She didn't even know how, but she definitely did it.
Yep,
But that's what I'm saying. That's just part of the variance of the game, and that's why we love it. And guess what? And that's the cool part about CDH too. It's just like, I played casual games first. Like I got my feet wet. I had to definitely dive in the shallow end first, but CDH is just like more, no holds barred. Like, oh, you countered my commander. Well, yes, because it was the objectively correct decision.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, now we're not so worried about like hurting one another's feelings and playing a game. Because the objective of the game is to win. Like, yes, we can build awesome, cool decks that do like weird, quirky things, like untap Hedron Crab a million times and do nothing. But like, that doesn't progress you to like win the game.
Yeah.
And like, sure, winning isn't everything. Like the journey is always more important than the destination. We know that, and we've experienced that firsthand. Even me on a personal level. But that's what CDH is. And like, people are so worried like, oh, the game's just over by turn 2. Well, sometimes that happens. But guess what? Sometimes it doesn't happen. Most CDH games are not just shuffle up and see what happens, but it's a lot of like controlling things that are what's going on. And the way that I like to look at it, it's almost like an old Western shootout where everyone's got guns to each other's heads and like, don't move. Because like someone's going to check you, and then guess what? You're going to run out of ammunition to stop the next person.
Yeah.
And so it just creates a whole different environment. But yeah, all these newer players, definitely throw your hat in the ring, see what happens. Like, what's the worst case? You lose?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
you can't learn to get better if you don't ever do it.
Yeah, you got to try. it's the same thing in business. Like I've participated in many businesses that have started and failed, some that went through legal trouble, some that didn't, well, at least not mine personally. Let me just throw that out there as a clarifier. I am not in any legal trouble. That is
Great.
for sure.
Love that for the brand.
There's one thing brand safe about this.
And it's
yes.
our legal status.
Yes, legal status is very open and clear. That's for sure. But yeah, throw your hat in there. You never know what's gonna happen. It's Magic. There's so many cards in our format that like you never even know what to expect.
There's at least 100 in your deck.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you never even see those cards. Like I've even thrown cards in my deck that like I haven't even had a chance to cast them yet. I never drew them.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and you're gonna, you can't tell me that all 30 to, I don't even know how many cards there are, 30 to 100,000, I would imagine, probably even more. So like, there's just always new things and people coming up with new strategies. And guess what? Most people are actually very friendly. I actually played in a tournament recently over in Nashville a few months ago where I sat with a player. He had no idea what was going on. And you know what he did? He asked me, because I had a really terrible mulligan. So he asked me, how do these two other decks win? And guess what? I told him. And that's what's amazing about CDH players. Like, yes, we're all competitive, but we're willing to talk with you.
Yeah.
It's not like a closed off environment. It's not like we're operating behind the glass door like the Wizard of Oz. Like, we're here to actually like compete, but we'll communicate. Yeah. And that's the great part, like, about politicking too. Like, you don't really get that in other games like Modern or Yu-Gi-Oh or other one-on-one formats. Politicking's like a really big thing because, like, obviously people can always take advantage, lie, manipulate, whatever. But generally speaking, people will say, hey, look, this player's about to do X, Y, and Z. We all need to work together to stop him because guess what? If that person wins, that means we all lose.
Yeah.
So it creates more of a team effort, and I think that's like really, really important. Because like it allows people to communicate and learn more about not just the game, but the format itself. And I think that makes people way better of a player.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. How many, so you have the tournament in October, you have 2 that you've mentioned for next year. How many like tournaments are y'all planning on having a year?
So that's a little bit to be determined. We're doing our trial run so we can fix and like observe everything first and foremost, just so we can make sure that we have everything lined up in the right way. So we're not just like aiming blindly going into the future.
Fair.
In fact, this whole tournament series started because like I wanted to run a 50K. Everyone tried to advise me against it. I said, no, it's happening. And my business partners and I decided that it would be a really good idea to do like smaller test runs. And that's why we have our 5K coming up in a couple of days. And we have our 10K coming up in January. Again, exact dates to be determined. It might be off by a week or maybe lead into the following month, etc. I just want my venues to sign paperwork again before I announce any dates officially. But that's where it all started. And once we have those 3 events under our belt, like we're going to be looking for bigger and better things. Like some of our goals and dreams, like I want to be giving out $250,000 a weekend. That's my vision. Yeah. And my business partner, who you guys have met, Nate, he always tells me over and over, he wants to create the Pro Tour version of CDH.
Yeah.
So like we have like some pretty big and lofty goals. So in terms of saying how many events we're going to run a year, like that's still to be determined. But I think we should be running like a 50K, like probably twice a year, and like have like a bunch of other events in between and stuff like that. Really like fill out the year with a bunch of different opportunities to give people an amazing opportunity with some of the biggest prize support that anybody's ever seen.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So in terms of the smaller tournaments, are you looking at running all of them in Florida, or will they just kind of like be everywhere? Is that something you can talk about now?
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable talking about that now. So we do definitely start in Florida. That's where I grew up. That's where I'm based out of. I have a lot of friends, and there is a pretty decent sized community out there, and going up and down the East Coast is like pretty easily travelable. So that's definitely where we want to start. But this is a brand. Like I do anticipate going to other locations. Like I've already opened up some doors with some people in Texas and California where I definitely think we can take this model and bring it, to everybody. I'm not even opposed to going internationally to like the Europe circuit and stuff like that. I know that they also have some cool things that they've tried with like the Japanese point system and like, there's just a bunch of different things that we get to try, but in terms of like expanding our reach, I definitely think that we can go to a wider audience and go to more locations because I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, I have to go to this place to participate. I want you to feel warm and welcomed. So if we eventually have places in Texas and New York and California and all these other places, it'll make people feel more comfortable. It'll also bring more brand recognition. And on top of that, it'll give more people the opportunity to feel important. Because we know we are creating this, effective Stanley Cup where, you'll be eternalized in glory. And it'll be not so great of an experience, if I have a person that can't really get to Florida for whatever reason, but they live in Texas or Georgia or wherever, that we could easily bring the tour to wherever we need to go to please the most amount of people.
Yeah. So what's the next step? Like, how do you expand from here?
So in terms of expansion, like I mentioned previously, the biggest thing that we're focusing on right now is marketing and consumer education. That's what we want to focus on. That's our primary goal, because there's just a lot of little details. And to be honest, the community was kind of divided when we started talking about these concepts like prize support and things like that. The community was in like 3 major different categories, and the categories were as follows. 1, they understand the math, they understand what's going on, but tournament organizers kind of have a monopoly on the market for the most part, like especially the big major ones. So they really don't have another opportunity to play for even 10 or 20,000 very often. So like they're kind of just stuck there. Then you have people that like don't care at all or just don't know. And then you have the ones that are like misinformed. And the misinformed ones are the ones that I would really like to reach out to, because there's so many better things that we can do for you guys, but we want you to understand, because we would say, hey, look, like you're only getting like 40% on the dollar here. Like that's not really fair to you. But then the answer that we would get shot back with all the time was, well, oh, they have to pay for judge staff and they have to pay for the venue and all this kind of stuff. Well, I'm just like, I think we're missing the point here. Like there's money coming in from multiple avenues. You have vendors paying you. You have, marketing campaign contributors funding you. You have the event itself funding you. The money's coming from so many different places that it's just like you can really alter the dollar and where it's spent, where you don't have to be as greedy, and you can reward the player base. Because, if you have a tournament where you're expecting 200 players and you're expecting to make X dollars, that's great. But just because you get 400 players doesn't mean you need to make twice as much.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, we can really set a precedent with tournament organizers. In fact, I don't want to like shout out any of my competitors directly, but we've even seen like some side events being run with our model, and we're very, very happy that like those steps are being taken, at least on the baby step level.
I bet that feels cool.
It felt very cool. Even though I know if they're listening, I know they know who they are, and I know you guys don't like me. Well, I'm going to say this publicly. 1, I don't hate you guys at all. I think we can be allies and friends, but I want to just focus on creating the best environment for everybody.
Yeah. Do you have a philosophy?
In terms of?
Just in general. Philosophy for what you're doing, for what you want to grow. Personal philosophy, anything that drives you.
My personal philosophy is I want to be left alone and I want to pay less taxes. Everything else doesn't matter.
You just like me for real.
I think we can all agree on that. That's as far as I go politically. Everything else is a blur to me. But that's where I live. And in terms of like life and business, just be honest to who you are. Hold yourself accountable. You're in charge of your own destiny. Even when something bad happens, or you're in your darkest darks, or your highest highs, your lowest lows, you're in control of yourself, and you're in control of your own destiny. And things are going to happen, and you're going to have obstacles in the way sometimes. But it's up to you to decide what kind of person you are if you want to hold yourself accountable to get through it. One of my biggest philosophies is that being stressed is a choice. And no one understands what I mean by that. They look at me like I have 14 eyeballs. Well, I have at least 4 with these big glasses. But the definition of stress is you're under pressure and frustration, and you either don't have the wherewithal, self-esteem, or the self-control to feel like you're going to get through it. And I feel like that's a big choice, So... And I take this very seriously, because I literally came from nothing. And Mom, if you're listening, close your ears. But like I've slept in a bush a few times. I've definitely come from nothing and build myself to the person that I am now. And I have multiple businesses. And if you guys are out there, I know my employees don't hate me. They might get mad at me sometimes, but it's all out of love. But being stressed is 100% a choice. Even if you don't know how you're going to get through it, or how you're going to overcome those obstacles, how you're going to win this game, or how you're going to make it through life. You know, if you're struggling financially, how you're going to make that next rent payment. Just know that it's all going to be okay. You're going to find a way. You just need to have that confidence in yourself. Even if you don't have the exact answer, it's up to you to really push yourself to the limit and tell yourself it's going to be okay. You know, you're going to find a way through it. Life doesn't end just because you missed a bill.
Yeah.
You know, you got to hold yourself accountable. And that's a big thing. Set your goals. Don't live in dreamland. Really hold yourself accountable and get down to the nitty gritty of how you're going to make the best version of you possible. And we're going to give you the best opportunity to make, the best of yourselves at our tournaments. And, we hope that extenuates into their lives and that we can create a positive atmosphere for everybody.
Yeah.
That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, man. Your mindset really is what controls you,
Yeah.
Yeah. Your mind is so powerful. It's like we're all very powerful. I mean, it's an unfathomable number of neurological connections in just one person's brain that, like, there's no way that you can tell me that you cannot find the self-wherewithal to be okay, because everyone's going to be okay.
Damn. Changing my life over here, bro.
Yeah, that got deep for a minute. But.
I'm inspired. I'm like, now I want to start a new business.
Okay, I want to do the confidence. I won't be stressed anymore. Fuck, dude, is that easy? I never even thought about that because your girl be stressed. Like,
yeah, no, it's
perspective shift is
100% a choice.
Damn. Well, next time we hang out, I'm gonna be a different bitch.
I'll probably be the same bitch. I'll be just as funny then as I am now.
Yeah.
And don't fool yourself, guys. They're the same way in person too. Like this is and no, I'm not saying this against my will. I'm not being held hostage. Like this is just truly who they are, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Sam's been in our apartment since 8:00 this morning.
Yeah.
Right when the girlies woke up. He got the full GirlPod experience this morning.
Yeah.
We got here and we were like on the floor putting together a C-stand, nearly in tears, trying to laugh it off, like with the nut buster of scissors.
The nutcracker.
The nutcracker of scissors.
We were definitely getting down to the nuts and bolts of it all for sure.
We were like, there was this one little bolt on the C-stand that would not turn, and Sam and Sandwich worked on it for so long before Sam was like, oh, the whole thing is turning. This isn't working. Like 30 minutes.
Insta trip to Home Depot.
Yeah. Insta trip to Home Depot. We should have started at Home Depot.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about ourselves today, and that is that we try to be do-it-yourselfers.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even just that, we struggled with that nut and bolt for God knows how long. But guess what? There was a solution. And guess what? Even if there wasn't a solution, it would have been okay anyways.
It would have been fine.
That's true.
We would have figured it out.
It's so cool to
and
have
then we had a
C-stand,
great
though.
overhead, yeah.
Yeah.
The overhead looked great. There was no glare.
Yeah.
It's a clear picture.
Oh, I'm so excited for y'all to see the video.
Oh my gosh, it's
It's good.
I don't think the video will be out by Wednesday. But,
Wild.
but keep an eye on that because it'll probably be out next week.
Those games may or may not have been short or long.
Yeah, this will probably be like a 20-minute video, but I'm really hoping it's over 10 minutes and 1 second.
So if you leave an extra like in the comment section, maybe they'll get it out quicker.
Ooh.
Probably. Yeah, Sarah is very money motivated. I love money. I'm greedy. All right, y'all. Well, we are approaching that time at Not Brand Safe where we wrap it up. Any parting thoughts from anyone?
Yeah, we look forward to having you all out there. We have our 5K on October 25th. It's over in Boca Raton, Florida. It's about 35 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale. Super easy to fly to. Easy to make a last-minute decision and just go.
Sam, you motherfucker.
Hey, you guys are more than welcome. You guys know I
sent you a whole video and said, how does this sound? Where we said Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah, well, you know.
You could have said.
As the tapestry on your wall says, you guys are my sunshine. You know, so like, what am I supposed to say? No, you're wrong. Redo it.
Yeah, you're supposed to say, oh, hey. And then you send me a voice note and you say, this is how Boca Raton? Who the fuck? Boca Raton is so much cuter.
No, it's going to be a great time. We have a bunch of people pre-registered. You know, I would like to see our numbers get even higher. Obviously, I want to see everyone out there and have a great experience. We actually in the middle of designing our trophy belt. That'll be picked up probably in the next couple of days. You'll take a look at some pictures that'll be out and revealed very shortly. And yeah, just worry about being the best version of yourselves. If you want to dive your, toes in the deep water, go ahead and dive right in. The water's nice and warm, and, we're all welcome to have you.
I can't follow that up. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful, man. What the fuck? You're real good at this.
You're really good at this.
Well, I say it this way. It's easy when you talk from the heart. If people that fabricate, they're the ones that have to think and stutter. Like, this is all just me, and like it all comes from the heart. And, we really look forward to having you guys. And GirlPod's amazing. And I look forward to making even more relationships and helping them in their endeavors.
Yeah, we're going to do cool shit.
Yeah, this is a good team. This little triangle is going on right here, and then Nate will make it a square. Like, this is good.
Yeah, Nate, you missed out. You definitely booked your plane flights the wrong way.
Yeah. You definitely missed out, Nate. We had a great time.
We sure did, and we had pizza. Like, a great time and pizza, a 3-meat treat.
Don't get me started.
All right, y'all. Thanks very much for listening to another episode of Not Brand Safe. As always, I'm Sarah.
I'm Sandwich.
And this is Not Brand Safe.
It sure wasn't. Well, you know what? Actually, this was very brand safe. This
safe.
was beautiful. This is like the sweetest episode of Not Brand Safe I think we've ever recorded.
I know. I love compliments.
Yeah.
This is great.
It was. We got very complimentary towards GirlPod too, which always feels nice.
No, you guys are great. So
so are you. We only work with people that we like legitimately fuck with. And it has been so nice getting to know you and then hearing more about your plans and more about like your background and us having conversations outside of this podcast. I just am more and more and more confident in this decision for us all to work together and to make the future a more beautiful place for all CEDH players and Magic players, but you know, we love them CEDH players.
Yeah, we do. We like to get a little competitive every now and then. A little bit.
But not in a stressful way.
No. Not never. No, not anymore. I'm going to choose not to be stressed. I'm going to make a plan when I'm stressed, and then I won't be stressed because I have a plan, and I'll just follow my plan.
Exactly.
Fair. That's what I got
it's
from
all
this
a choice.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Sam.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. It was a pleasure being here, and no, I'm not trapped here against my will, but I have been here all day.
Blink twice. Blink twice if you're in danger.
But if I blink twice, they can't see me.
Exactly. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. They'll never know. Yeah, we're not letting Sam leave. Oops.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. If you don't see me, you know where I'm at.
Yeah, look for a red couch.
It may or may not be red.
May or may not be, to be determined. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.